Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So tomorrow is the appearance of Lord Nityananda. So we're going to read from Sri Caitanya Mangala. There's lots of books written about Lord Caitanya. Obviously, Srila Prabhupada, most of us know that he translated the Caitanya Charitamrita. But there's also Chaitanya Bhagavat, and there's Caitanya Mangala by Lochana Das. But specifically, we're going to read a chapter about Lord Nityananda, the meeting of Lord Nityananda and Caitanya. And I know you knew, so Krishna always comes with his first expansion, who's known as Balaram. So usually when you see Krishna, he's either with Radha, his energy, or his brother. And his brother is known as his the servant. And sometimes Vishnu, you see Vishnu with the snake hood over him. That's also Balaram, and that is the first expansion and the first servant. So Chaitanya, who's over here, he comes also with his first associate, which is Nityananda. And tomorrow is his appearance day, which is like his birthday. So it's a special holiday. And then yesterday, today, and tomorrow we're reading about Lord Nityananda. And this chapter is the meeting of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, called the Meeting of Lord Nityananda. It's chapter 4. Murari Gupta gets the name Ramadas. One day, Gauranga sat on the divine seat flanked by his intimate associates. He asked Srivas, "Do you know the meaning of your name? You are the abode of bhakti, so you are Srivas." Then Prabhu said to Gopinath, "You are my dear devotee." To Murari Gupta, the Lord said, "For my pleasure, please recite the verse you composed." Murari Gupta cited his book from Sri Chaitanya Charita. "I worship the blessed Lord and Master of the three worlds, Sri Ramachandra. He wears a brilliant crown covered with a strand of jewels, whose shining lights up all directions. His dazzling earrings defeat the brilliance of Sukra and Vrishapati. His beautiful face looks like the pure, spotless moon. I worship the lotus feet of the Master of the three worlds, Sri Ramachandra, whose charming eyes appear like blossoming lotus flowers. His red lips look like bimba fruits, and his well-shaped nose attracts everyone. His wonderful smile embraces the moonlight." After hearing the verses, Gora put his feet on Murari's head. Then he wrote the name Ramadas on his forehead. Prabhu said, "Murari, from today on, by my mercy, you'll be known as Ramadas. Without Raghunath, you cannot live for a moment. Know for certain that I am the same Lord Raghunath, Rama." So here he's wrote a nice verse about Lord Ramachandra, who's also known as Raghunath. And a lot of these descriptions are meant to give pleasure to the devotees. Just like when you like someone, you like to hear how they are and some descriptions, not just their names, and maybe some beautiful descriptions. So here Lord Chaitanya is appreciating these nice verses that he's written about Lord Ramachandra. And he's saying, "I'm also Lord Ramachandra." To the surprise of everyone's present, Lord Gauranga showed his transcendental form as Lord Ramachandra, along with Janaki, Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman, and other associates. Instantly, Murari fell at the feet of and praised Lord Gauranga. "All glories to Raghuvira. He is the same as the darling of Sachimata." Then Murari rolled in the dust, crying in happiness, and he offered prayers. Showing mercy, Mahaprabhu said, "Murari, you should worship me and forget anything other than bhakti. Although I am your worshipful Lord Raghunath, still you should worship the Lord Radha, Lord of Radha. Perform Sankirtan, attentively hear the glories of Radha and Krishna, and be devoted unto me." Then Lord Gaurahari recited a verse to Srivas Pandit from the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 11, verse 14, or canto 11, chapter 14, verse 20. "My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by the devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, or austerities and renunciation." Prabhu told his associates that they should act according to his verse and follow the teachings of Srivas. In this way, they would find ultimate happiness. So he's saying here that although he's Lord Ramachandra, also worship Radha Krishna. And he cites the verse that God or the Lord is no one can control him. I mean, there's no way that you can control maybe a person or maybe something within your perimeter, but no one can control God. But here he says that God can be controlled by bhakti, and it's higher than mystic yoga, philosophy, pious work, Vedic study. None of that can really reach the supreme, um, but easily through love you can. Prabhu told his associates that they should act according to this verse and follow the teachings of Srivas. In this way, they would find ultimate happiness. Guranga told Sri Rama Pandit, by worshipping your brother Srivas, you are worshipping me. Therefore, serve him nicely, and you will receive mercy. Tears moistened the Lord's eyes. Srivas offered some milk to Prabhu, and he gladly accepted. The Lord received articles of worship such as incense, perfume, sandalwood paste, flower garlands. Then Gaurahari returned them as prasadam to the devotees. After spending a blissful night in the house of Srivas Pandit, Lord Gora walked home. Upon completing morning baths, the eternal associates of Lord Gaurahari immediately rushed to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Smiling, the Lord said, listen to the good news. Lord Nityananda, the wonderful Avadut, has arrived from Navadvip. His glories are beyond description. Today we are most fortunate, for we shall see his lotus feet. Nityananda is non-different than Balaram and Narayan. You, Murari, and Mukunda, go locate Lord Nityananda. Here, quickly, Lord Nityananda is mentioned as an avadut. You know what an avadut is? An avadut is someone who doesn't really follow the rules. There's certain rules that sannyasis and renunciates follow. And Lord Nityananda, sometimes you'd eat very little, he'd eat tons. Sometimes everybody be silent, he'd be laughing, causing a disturbance seemingly. That's known as an avadut. They are beyond those rules. Yeah. Quickly, they searched the southern part of the village, but they could not find him. With folded hands, they reported to Guranga that even though they had scrutinizingly searched, they could not locate Nityananda. Following Prabhu's order, Murari and Mukunda also unsuccessfully checked their own homes. Upon meeting that evening, the Lord said, Murari, didn't you find the avadut? Smiling curiously, Guranga continued, he's staying in the house of Nanda Acharya. Let's go there together. The devotees yelled, Jai, Jai, and followed Lord Guranga up the road. Euphoric sounds of Haribol, Haribol permeated the atmosphere. Devotees displayed symptoms of divine rapture, such as faltering voices, profuse crying. Being drowned in ecstatic love of God, Gauranga sometimes walked slowly forward like a formidable lion. The next moment he ran like a maddened elephant, determined, not looking back. Tears shot from his eyes as he roared like thundercloud. Next chapter, the beauty of Nitai. Lord Gauranga met Nityananda Raya in the home of Nanda Acharya. Nityananda's beautiful golden-colored body had a slightly reddish hue. Glistening ornaments adorned his enchanting form. A bright yellow cloth caressed his hips. A yellow turban, the color of golden champa flower, decorated his head. As he walked, his ankle bells chimed sweetly. Junie, Junie, Junie. His eyes were wide and long like a deer. He removed the shyness of young girls with his brilliant lightning smile. His roaring like a lion, louder than the monsoon clouds, subdued the mad elephants of the Kali Yuga. Lord Nityananda walked with the gait of a maddened elephant. His beautiful lotus face was beautiful to be. His peaceful lotus face was beautiful to behold when he cried tears of love. Absorbed in deep love of Krishna, his body would shiver, perspire, erupt all over with ecstatic symptoms. Holding a golden stick in his hand, he smashed the pride of Kali. Golden necklaces hung on his chest. Marvelous gem inlaid earrings dangled on his cheeks. His hands were reddish like a night blooming lotus. Attractive bangles intensified the beauty of his strong golden arms. Another description of Nityananda, all this opulence, whereas the renunciants obviously didn't have much on, maybe just a dhoti and that's it. But here, and that was one thing that People that didn't know would criticize it. Why does he have these golden necklaces and bangles holding not like a staff made of wood? It's made of gold. It's very opulent. But again, it's just showing that you're not bound by rules so much. Nityananda, known as an avadut. Holding his golden stick in his hand, oh, he smashed the pride of Kali. In ecstasy, Nityananda Prabhu, almost falling to the ground, uttered, "Where is my Kanai Gopal, Krishna?" Adopting the sentiment of a cowherd boy, Nityananda cried and laughed and begged Revati for some honey. At one moment, he jumped like a frog. The next moment, he acted dumb and speechless, or said something unintelligible. Who can understand the Lord's transcendental mellow? The sweet aroma of Nityananda's body stole the housewives from their homes and crushed the dust of the pride of chaste girls. Lord Gauranga paid obeisances and uttered sweet, auspicious prayers to Lord Nityananda. They both tried unsuccessfully to take the dust from their feet. They embraced warmly, cried, and talked about their recent travels. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, "I went on a pilgrimage around the whole world looking for you. Not finding you, I returned. I heard that the son of Nanda Maharaj was hiding in Navadvip in West Bengal. Coming here, I caught the thief. Now, where will you go to run away?" Then Lord Gauranga and Nityananda laughed heartily, wept tears, and danced blissfully. Lord Gauranga said, "Nityananda has come to smash the pride of Kali and deliver the blind, invalid, elderly, and the fallen. Sri Nityananda purifies the three worlds, but the fools and atheists cannot understand him. Everyone will fall in his trap of divine love set by Nityananda Prabhu." With intense delight, Gaura Nitai glorified the spiritual attributes of Lord Hari. Soon the ocean of their ecstasy calmed, and they sat down amongst the devotees. Everyone became supremely pleased with their darshan. Snatching the dust from the lotus feet of Nityananda, Lord Gaurahari sprinkled it on his head and his associates. Upon returning home, Mahaprabhu explained, "In all the three worlds there is no comparison to the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. His love and devotion for Krishna is extraordinary. It is very difficult to attain Krishna Prema Bhakti. From the platform of this realization, one surrenders in devotion to Krishna. Relishing the higher taste, he automatically rejects sense gratification. Day after day, his attachment for Krishna increases. Eventually, he reaches the mature state of pure ecstatic love of God. But by the causeless mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, anyone can easily obtain Krishna Prema." He's explaining how easily, it's somewhat difficult. It's a process, and it is a process to attain pure love of God. But here, you see, Nityananda makes it very easy, and that's why Nityananda is known as the most merciful, because all of us are struggling really hard, and we're in our sadhana and so forth. But by understanding and Nityananda, it becomes very easy in one sense. Prabhupada said, it can take 1 second away. It'll take many lifetimes or even this lifetime. But to attain love of God can become very easy through Nityananda. On another day, Sriman Mahaprabhu received Nityananda Prabhu at his home, and Gauranga smeared sandalwood paste on Nityananda's body, gave him a flower garland, and offered other articles for worshiping the exalted personality. Maddened with affection, Sachi Mata couldn't take her eyes off Nitai's lotus face. Gaurahari said, "Sachi Mata, you seem to take more care of Nitai than me." Gazing tenderly with motherly love, Sachi Mata said, "From today on, both of you are my sons. Nitai, please show your mercy to Vishvambar." Crying, Sachi sat Nitai on her lap. Accepting Sachi as his mother, Sri Nityananda Prabhu touched her feet and spoke sweetly. He said, "Everything you said is true. You should definitely know that I am your son. So as my mother, please overlook my faults. Know clearly that in all respects I am your son." Overpowered by intense motherly affection for Nityananda, Sachi Mata cried and choked up. The devotees became astonished by her expression of parental love. Once, Nityananda accepted an invitation for prasad from Srivas Pandit. After enjoying the meal, Nityananda relaxed peacefully. At that time, Mahaprabhu came and sat on the deity's throne in the temple room of Srivas Pandit. Nityananda looked at Vishvambar's beautiful body, but he didn't understand Prabhu's intentions. Mahaprabhu ordered the devotees to leave the temple. Then he spoke confidentially with Nityananda. But who can understand that inner meaning of that conversation? Gauranga said, Nitai, now look at me. You took so much trouble to find me. Lord Vishvambar first showed Nitai his six-armed form, then his four-armed form, then finally his two-armed form. Observing these wonderful transcendental forms, Sri Nityananda, the Avadut, remembered his previous relationship with the Lord. In one spiritual form, Sriman Mahaprabhu showed three divine incarnations, Rama, Krishna, and Gauranga. Then Nityananda saw the feature of the ever-fresh divine couple Radha Kanu, Radha Krishna. And Lord Nityananda submerged in an ocean of ecstasy and lost all sense of direction. Lochan Das thus sings the transcendental pastimes of Lord Gauranga. Chapter 5, Pastimes with Nityananda and Advaita. Gaura's dream of many forms. Late one night, Vishvambar began crying. Now, Vishvambar is the name, the birth name given to Lord Caitanya. So this is taking place a little bit early on in his pastimes. He's still with his mother. He doesn't take sannyas, so he's known as Vishvambar. Later, he's known as Lord Caitanya or Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, actually. But the name that his mother and father gave him is Vishvambar. When you hear Vishvambar, that's Lord Chaitanya. So late one night, Vishvambar began crying. With a concerned heart, Sachi Mata, his mother, asked the cause for his distress. She said, Your crying pains me too much. I feel like a burning arrow has pierced my heart. The Lord sat silently for a few moments and before telling Sachi Mata about his dream. Gauranga said, In my dream, I saw a person with a beautiful body, the color of a fresh monsoon cloud. A peacock feather caressed like a rainbow above his top knot. Golden ankle bells, armlets, and bangles adorned his shapely limbs. Aromatic flower garlands accentuated his shimmering yellow dhoti. Dots of shiny sandalwood paste decorated his face, and he held a flute in his hand. Vishvambar ordered Sachimata not to reveal this dream to anyone. Hearing her son's nectarine words saturated Sachidevi's heart with the utmost bliss. Vishvambar manifested many ecstatic symptoms such as a luminous effulgence, which lit up the entire house. Just then, Nityananda Avadut arrived and saw Lord Vishvambar exhibiting this most alluring form. Gaurahari held a club in his right hand, a flute in his left. In his second hand, he held a lotus flower, and a bow was in his second left hand. A kashtumba gem hung on his golden chest. Makara kundala shark-shaped earrings dangled from his ears. A bright emerald necklace graced his neck. Nityananda Avadut looked again to see the four-armed form of Lord Gaura, but now the flute and bow were absent. In a moment, Prabhu displayed the two-armed form. Lord Gaurahari revealed different forms in order to favor his devotees. Avaduta Raya, the king of the Avaduts, gave Gauranga an ecstatic embrace, and then they danced delightfully. Gauranga said, O Nitai, take Srivas, Sriram, Murari, and Narayan with you and go to the house of Advaita Acharya. Tell him I'll happily be there soon. This order of Lord Gaura made them feel happy. With blissful hearts, the devotees went to Advaita Acharya's house. After that, they greeted him with respectful obeisances. Advaita Acharya danced joyfully. Becoming mad with love of God, the devotees joined along, dancing wildly and roaring with enthusiasm. Everyone engaged in glorifying the splendid qualities of Lord Gauranga. Sinking in the ocean of Krishna Prem, they all went transcendently mad. Thus, they passed 2 pleasurable days in the home of Sri Advaita Acharya. And here what we're reading is a lot of what are known as ecstatic symptoms. Um, it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, these ecstatic symptoms, rolling on the ground, crying, and so forth. And actually, when Lord Chaitanya entered the temple of Lord Jagannath, he just fell flat on the ground. And most people couldn't understand what was going on. Is he just some crazy person coming in? And just like in these ecstatic symptoms, most people can't understand. Are they just crazy? Because people are going about their village life, and then renunciants, sannyasis are very, priest-like. They're not rolling on the ground, shivering, dancing, embracing each other, throwing up dust, crying at one moment. But these are known as divine symptoms that are brought upon by a very high ecstatic transcendental state. But we shouldn't ever try to mimic these symptoms. Sometimes in India they do. They're known as sahajiyas that come and they're crying, but it's somewhat fake. This is high elevated states that they're in, ecstatic symptoms. That's why we hear a lot about this, especially in this chapter. After paying obeisances, the devotees left Acharya's house and returned to see Lord Gaurachandra. Murari Gupta respectfully gave a full report to the Lord. Gaurahari laughed heartily to hear about the jubilant Sankirtan at Advaita Acharya's house. The next day, Advaita came to see the feet of Lord Gaurachandra. The Lord was sitting on the deity's throne within the house of Srivas Pandit. The entire house was illuminated by Gaura's transcendental effulgence. His bodily complexion resembled molten gold. Due to the influence of Krishna Prema, the Lord's golden face had a reddish hue, appearing like the morning sun. Gauranga was decorated with perfumes, garlands, and sandalwood pulp. His face glowed soothingly like cooling beams of the full moon. Gadadhar and Narahari stood on either side of the Lord. Sri Raghunandana gazed at Gaura's face, and the other devotees stood around the Lord. The devotees encircling Lord Gauranga looked like constellations surrounding the full moon. Immersed in divine rapture, Sri Nityananda Prabhu sat before the Lord, admiring his face. Sometimes Nityananda would laugh, and sometimes he would cry. Then Advaitacharya became engulfed in ecstasy and repeatedly roared like a lion. Tiny bumps of joy covered his body from head to toe. Even the universe couldn't contain his joy. Acharya offered gifts of new clothes to Lord Hari. He worshipped Gauranga with tulsi manjaris, sandalwood paste, fragrant malati garlands. Advaita fell flat on the earth before Gaurahari's feet. Accepting the Lord Gaurachandra quickly lifted him up. Gauranga happily distributed prasadam to his intimate associates, Advaita, Nityananda, Srivas, Murari, Mukunda, and they sang the Lord's praises and danced without abandon. They were tasting the nectar of Krishna Prem. Devotees praised one another and exchanged blessings. They considered the happiness derived from the impersonal oneness as insignificant. Becoming overcome with divine jubilation, they forgot whether it was day or night. All the devotees knew that this dancing and chanting of Hare Krishna, all the devotees knew was dancing and chanting of Hare Krishna. At sunrise, they began and they continued dancing madly deep into the night. So this is taking place in the house of Srivas. Srivas had a large, sizable house with a big courtyard in the middle, and they would do kirtan all day and all night for days on end. And actually, they would lock the doors because so many people would be disturbed by it in a sense, like they can't be doing that, like dancing all night. It was like a big party in there, kirtan party. So they would lock the doors that way. The people in the village, most understood what was going on, but some of the Brahmins said, this is not correct. Again, renunciate should just sit and read. That's it. Take minimal food. You can't be dancing in ecstasy. But in the house of Srivas, that was what they would do. And here's a description: all day and all night for 2 days, sometimes straight. Dancing in this rapture, this ecstasy. When they finished dancing, Lord Gauranga ordered the devotees to return to their home. Mahaprabhu said, "Take your bath, worship the deities, honor prasadam, and rejoin me for more delightful singing and dancing." After completing the morning duties, the devotees met Sri Gaura again. At that time, Haridas came to Navadvip to see the Lord. He was maddened with Krishna Prem. He was like a honeybee eagerly drinking the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet. Due to the effect of prema, he acted like a young lion. Gauranga cordially welcomed Haridas with loving embrace. When Haridas offered obeisances to the Lord caught his hand and picked him up. Gauranga rubbed sweet-smelling sandalwood paste on the body of Haridas. He gave his own flower garland to him and as prasadam. Haridas honored Mahaprasad to his full satisfaction. In this way, Gauranga Mahaprabhu passed his days savoring the bliss of Sankirtan with all his intimate associates like Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Srivas, Haridas, and others. Receiving Gaura's order, Advaita Acharya went home. Whoever saw or heard the Sankirtan pastime became absorbed in ecstatic love. The Lord also bade farewell to Nityananda Avadut. However, after walking together for a few steps, they stopped. Due to intense love for each other, they couldn't bear to separate. Finally, Gauranga begged Nitai for a pair of his karpinas, undergarment, karpinas. Then Gauranga gave a small piece to each devotee. Rejoicing over receiving the sacred prasad, the devotees tied it around their heads. After leaving Nityananda, everyone returned to their homes. In separation from Gaura Chandra, the devotees simply sat at their houses and wept. After taking their evening bath, they gladly went to see the Lord. In the meantime, Nityananda visited Advaitacharya. For many days and nights they sat together, relishing great happiness, discussing Lord Gauranga's pastimes. So as we generally say prasadam is food stuffs offered, but actually prasadam is anything offered to the Lord. So if you get a flower from the altar or someone gives you a garland, anything that's offered is prasadam. Yeah. Jai. Yeah. Radha Rajabihari ki jai. So we'll read just like one more chapter. Not very long. Deliverance of Jagai and Madai. Gauranga and Srivas vanish. Simply by hearing the following pastime, one will obtain prema bhakti at the lotus feet of Krishna. Prema bhakti is love. Prema means pure love, not just simple love, but very high ecstatic love of God is known as prema. So here, just by hearing this pastime, one can obtain prema bhakti at the lotus feet of Krishna. The glories of Lord Gaurahari are the sublime essence of nectar, far beyond the reach of the Vedas. One day, Lord Gaura embraced his devotees, danced and chanted jubilantly with them. Catching the hand of Srivas Pandit, Gaurahari suddenly disappeared from that assembly. Not knowing the Lord's whereabouts, the devotees became apprehensive. Losing their gravity, they cried in despair and rolled on the earth. They searched each house looking for Gauranga. The devotees became overwhelmed in separation. A deluge of tears filled their eyes, preventing their eyelids from opening. They wailed and lamented. Why did he leave us? Where did he go? Some devotees considered suicide as their only recourse. Sachimata, her clothing and dresses hanging loosely, beat her breasts in madness and stumbled on the ground. Sachi Devi cried constantly, Darling, darling, please come home. The day is passing into night. Please return. You are guiding light of your family, the very moon of Nadia. You are the star of my eyes. Without you, everything is dark and frightening. From a secluded place, Vishvambar was observing the painful condition of his devotees. Suddenly, he reappeared among them, like the brilliant sun rising in the middle of a dark night. By this episode, the Lord showed the depth of love stoned within the hearts of his pure devotees. Crying bittersweet tears, some devotees fell at Lord Gaura's lotus feet. Others danced in frenzy upon seeing his sweet smiling face. This is the love of showing separation, love and separation. So sometimes when you love someone, or you love them, you want to see them, it's great. You're being with them. But when they leave for a day or two, you feel like you cannot be without them, just like your son leaves or your loved one. But that love is extremely intense. It's called love and separation. So that's what they're exhibiting here when Caitanya disappeared, is that very intense love. It's a glimpse that we have. It's not obviously pure in that sense, but we can get some idea that when we love someone and they leave, we get really upset. But that's a sign of love, that upset. It's not just upset, like I'm mad, it's a sign of love. So that's what's happening. One devotee confessed, "O Prabhu, in separation from your lotus feet, I saw nothing but darkness in every direction. Drowning in motherly affection, Sachimata put Vishwambar on her lap and smothered him with a million kisses." Just like that. She said, "To me, you are like a walking stick to the blind man. You are the light in my eyes and the very soul of my body. I have nothing else but you. The world is completely empty without you. Appearing in my life, you have destroyed all my misery, just as the full moon dispels darkness of night." Murari, Mukunda, and Haridas said, "O Srivas, you are the Gaurahari's most intimate servant. So by your mercy, the Lord has returned. We don't know how to thank you. Please be kind and accept us as your own." Then the devotees sang the glories of Gaurahari while dancing joyously with the Lord. Such are the wonderful ways by which Lord Gaurahari distributed the treasure of love of God in Navadvip. In the three worlds, it's extremely hard to find one eligible to receive the gift of Krishna Prema Bhakti. Lochan Das says, "Ananta Deva and Lakshmi, what to speak of Shiva and the four Kumaras, cannot understand the inner meaning of prema that Gauranga gave away." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Right. So we'll stop there. Let's see it. Don't. Haribol. So again, tomorrow we'll pick up reading one more pastimes. We'll see what we have in store, but it's Lord Nityananda's appearance tomorrow. And I don't know if you can come at 4 o'clock. There's going to be like a small festival and an abhishek, which is a special ceremony that we do on appearance days. Starts at 4, probably 4 to 7 or so. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Wonderful.